If it's about love, if it's about justice, waking justice.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is Austin Haynes with the Waking Justice Project, and this is your daily wake-up call. Here's what the corporatocracy is up to today, November 13th, 2019. You can visit our website at wakingjustice.org for more details. Here are the headlines. It's Whistleblower Wednesday today, where each Wednesday we focus on whistleblowers, the brave activists who work to expose the corporate takeover of our democracy. Some of the most important patriots in U.S. history were whistleblowers. In fact, the U.S. was practically founded by whistleblowers. For a brief history about whistleblower activism, you can check out the first edition of Whistleblower Wednesday in our October 2nd podcast. One of the great whistleblower patriots in U.S. history is General Smedley Butler. Some of you may have heard about General Butler's famous book called War is a Racket. But did you know that General Butler was also the lone whistleblower that stopped the only attempted military coup on the US presidency in our nation's history? It's true. The planned coup was investigated by Congressional Inquiry, which confirmed its credibility. And top industrialists, Wall Street moguls, and U.S. intelligence officials were implicated in the plot. In a moment, we'll get into the details of this incredible coup that General Butler exposed. But first, we'll give some background on his career in the military. And after, as an anti-war activist and crusader against the U.S. corporatocracy. Smedley Darlington Butler was born to Quaker parents in Westchester, Pennsylvania in 1881. His father and maternal grandfather were both U.S. congressmen. In high school, he attended an elite prep school, but dropped out his senior year to enlist in the Marines for the Spanish-American War. And over the next 34 years, General Butler participated in active warfare in the Philippines, China, Central and South America, and France in World War I. His heroicism in wartime is legendary. By the time he retired, General Butler was the most decorated Marine in U.S. history. But it was his work as an activist after his retirement from the military that made General Butler so famous. After retirement, he became an outspoken critic of the corporate war machine. In 1933, he began touring the U.S., speaking to fellow war veterans about the corruption of our government and military by U.S. corporate elites. He said his goal was to, quote, try and educate the soldiers out of the sucker class. He'd say, I spent 33 years in active military service as a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street and the bankers. I was a gangster for capitalism. He talked about how he helped make Mexico safe for big oil in 1914. How he, quote, helped rape half a dozen countries in Central and South America for the benefit of Wall Street. And how he helped open Haiti and Cuba for big banks. He'd add that the bankers who financed the wars made the cream of the war profits. But it isn't just big banks, Wall Street, big oil, and the arms industry that are the war profiteers. General Butler showed how pretty much the whole corporatocracy profits off the war racket. How the textile, steel, coal, chemical, and meat and dairy tycoons also lobby for wars because they double and triple their earnings during wartime. But what does it profit the men who are killed? He'd ask his audience. And he'd answer, mangled bodies, shattered minds, broken hearts and homes, economic instability, and back-breaking taxation to pay for the wars for generations and generations. For the upper-class corporate elites, war is a racket, he'd say, and we soldiers are the sucker class. During his speaking tour across America, General Butler also openly criticized then-President Franklin Roosevelt for his connections to big business. And in 1934, a small group of men invited General Butler into a series of secretive meetings to discuss their shared concerns about the president. After a few meetings, the men eventually introduced the idea of a military coup against President Roosevelt. They wanted to hire General Butler to rally war veterans and to lead the coup. General Butler met with the men a few more times to be sure they were serious, and then he turned whistleblower and reported the whole plan to some close colleagues he knew in Congress. In a congressional inquiry, the men all denied the accusations, of course, but other witnesses came forward as well. And the inquiry ultimately determined that the planned coup was for real. And though nobody was ever arrested as a result, later research revealed that the three men who had initiated the meetings with General Butler were linked to some of the wealthiest industrialists in America: the Dupont brothers, J.P. Morgan, and William Randolph Hearst. Of course, the big corporate news outlets dismissed the coup as a conspiracy theory and quickly buried the story. But as historians would later determine, the links to Morgan, Dupont, and Hearst cannot be disproved. In fact, they make sense. The industrialists hated Roosevelt's New Deal reforms, which regulated banking and stock market trading, raised taxes on the wealthy elites, and gave collective bargaining power to labor unions. As we reported yesterday on our daily wake-up call, the corporatocracy is currently engaged in illegal coups in at least 6 different countries. Just yesterday, a US-backed coup overthrew the democratically elected president of Bolivia to steal access to that country's natural gas fields and precious mineral reserves. Much like General Butler warned about, and like Bolivia, and the other countries now under threat, the US has undergone a coup as well. As Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Chris Hedges has written, our democracy has been stolen in a slow-motion coup d'etat by US corporate elites. It's over now. The corporations have won. And it is beyond delusional now to think that we could ever vote such entrenched and moneyed elites out of power. If you want to learn how all of us, in the work of global justice, can join together in strategic boycott and force this corporatocracy to the people's bargaining table to end all of this injustice, warmongering, and corruption, and to help save our planet, please visit our website at wakingjustice.org. You can check out our About page and listen to our first podcast. And if you want to get involved, please fill out the Join Us form at the top right of the page. Or you can email us at info@wakingjustice.org. We'd love to hear from you. We're running out of time, y'all. Join us. Peace.
You must be involved in the struggle for freedom and justice.
If it's about love, if it's about justice is waking, justice is rising, justice is waking, justice is rising. If it's about love, justice is rising, and it ain't just us, it's all of us. If it's justice is waking, justice is rising, and it ain't just us, it's all of us. If it's about love,
may every soul unite, tend the fire and let old coals relight. I'm a citizen of the world and we fight for the rights of everybody to live a truly free life. Red or yellow, black or white, left or right, gay or straight, human or animal, all life. Cause what matters is what is in common. If you know it, stand tall and keep dropping the knowledge.
justice is waking, justice is rising, and it ain't just us, it's all of us. If it's about love.